but most often I'm probably going from whatever the last show that I watched into bed.
Okay.
And then I have a very bad habit of listening to podcasts while I'm in bed to like lull me to sleep.
Okay. Okay. And what about you, Karina? What is some of the things that you do before you get to bed?
Sometimes I go from a show to bed, but I try to read and then put on a guided meditation I've started doing, which helps me. But yeah, it just depends on the day.
Okay, so it's different. It's different each day based on what, like what influences what you're going to do in your evening routine.
It probably depends on how busy my work day was and if I was able to work out and get what I wanted to get done. Because sometimes if I don't get it done, then I shut down a little bit and then I'm like, oh, I'll just watch a show because I didn't get to like enjoy my time today.
Oh, that makes sense. That again, that is a response that is coming from neurotransmitters that had not been activated inside of our brain, and that's why it's really important that as you allow yourself to set time aside to reevaluate, like how was your day and how did you show up with your day, that you give yourself the opportunity to see how much of your day was spent feeling good and how much of it was feeling stressed and worried. Alicia, would you want to share your some of your evening routines and what influences your evening routine?
Sure. Like the only constant I have is a skincare routine. Like that has to get done no matter what. But I don't have like a wind down depending on the day. Like if I'm really stressed out, I will absolutely lay in my bed until like super late playing Candy Crush because I need to like settle my brain somehow. That's just one way that I like to do it. If I'm having a hard time going to sleep, I'll turn on. I think Headspace has a show on Netflix about it's like the science of sleep or something that's really good to fall asleep to if I'm having trouble. Or hold on one second, plane. Okay, sorry, it gets really really loud.
It's okay.
Overhead. Anyway, if I'm having like a good night, I'll do some sort of like light workout just to kind of tire myself out, and then I'll listen to music or something before I go to sleep.
Okay, that's cool. David, you?
Yeah, I don't think I have anything consistent. I think like Alicia, I think the only thing is like I'll wash my face and I'll put like moisturizer on or whatever. But like other than that, usually I'm doing something like having my TV on, playing something, and then like being on my phone until like I just have to go to sleep, I guess. So I don't have a good or productive bedtime routine, I'd say.
Okay, so let me just see something. I'm going to ask you guys to tell me. I'm going to name each one of you one by one. Danielle, when you go to sleep doing your night routine, how do you wake up in the morning? Like, what is the night routine that you've given yourself that you realize that when you wake up in the morning, you feel the least amount of stress?
I have no idea because I feel like most mornings I'm waking up not feeling entirely rested or calm or like ready to kind of hit the day.
Karina.
When I read and then meditate.
Alicia.
When I have a more like I'll call it a gentle going to sleep experience, like if it's dark and I'm not doing a whole lot, I usually wake up more refreshed. But I'll caveat that with whether or not I'm able to like stay asleep through the whole night. Because if I can't do that, then I'm just it's hell on earth when I wake up in the morning. I'm not ready for anything at all.
David.
I guess like my waking up less stress would just be a reflection of like what the day is ahead, because previous the night before I'm probably gonna be like looking on my calendar, my emails and stuff like that. So if there's stuff that is like popping off, then I'm just gonna wake up automatically stressed. But if it's just quiet for whatever reason, then it'll be cool.
It is amazing listening to I hope that you're able to hear yourself and understand that when we have a practice that allows us to get the mind to not feel so active, that the next day we have the ability to feel rested and to feel more prepared to step into our day. Now there's a lot of different ways that people sort of set their times or their routines so that they are able to be more productive. And when I say more productive, it's not necessarily just for work. Again, it's even personal, right? Because if you didn't have a good night's rest, and if you wake up feeling anxious or uncertain about what's to come in your day, even when you step into a personal situation like meeting up with a friend, you can likely be a reflection of that anxiety. You can likely be stepping into that from a space that isn't necessarily feeling good, but more in that space of anxiety and worry or distraction. And so when you think when you think about how you're able to step into your day with better focus, with better productivity, I want to help you understand. I repeat this over and over again, and David has heard it many times. The brain does what the body wants. The brain does what the body wants. So if you tell the body, if the body says we're anxious, we're worried, if your cortisol levels are activated, your fight or flight is activated, the brain is going, we need to worry. We need to figure this out. We need to distract her. Okay, we're gonna have her play the candy, whatever that video game thing is. Okay, we're gonna have her watch TV, because those are the things that the brain associates with you feeling less stressed and less worried. Now, the brain doesn't care longer term. The brain is just looking to help you understand what is present for you at this moment. How can I get her to quickly feel better, or him quickly feel better for so that we don't have to feel this anxiety. Now, the problem is that hi Betsy, the problem is that the brain isn't thinking longer term. So it's pulling all of this energy, all of this resources to help you feel presently calm. And now you go to sleep. Now here's the interesting part. When you go to sleep, 70%, about an average of 70% of your brain is detoxifying. Your brain is actually trying to release a lot of the energy, the neurotransmitters that have been used, overused, trying to sort things out, compartmentalize things for you. And so all of this is happening while you're sleeping. If you don't allow yourself to get into that REM sleep, then it's going to have a harder time to detoxify. And I don't know if any of you have woken up with your jaw hurting because maybe you were clenching your teeth. That's your brain having trouble detoxifying. If any of you wake up with like sore necks, yes, we can blame pillows, but that is also the brain trying to detoxify. And if it's not able to detoxify here, then it starts to send messages of inflammation into the body, because it doesn't really care about anything else other than trying to get rid of all of the noise, all of the information that's here, so that when you wake up, you're able to step into your day feeling more focused, feeling lighter. And so when we pull in these activities like watching TV or playing on video games or looking at our emails or listening to YouTube's, listening, depending on podcasts. Podcasts could be a really good option, but it also depends on the podcast that you're listening to. If you're providing the brains all of these activities, you're not giving the brain the opportunity to know what it needs to process for you for the next day. So when you allow yourself to really sit back before you go to bed, taking some time to sit down and write out, what are the things that I need to get done tomorrow? And when you start to write those things out, like handwrite, not type them up, you handwrite these things, you give the brain an opportunity to then, when you go to sleep, start going, okay, what do we need to do to make this happen? Now, the beauty of that experience, and I am talking from experience of someone who has high functioning anxiety, ADHD, ADD, you wake up feeling more confident that you know the steps that you need to take to complete the task that you want to complete. And now you don't have that worry of like, did I forget something? Was I supposed to do so? How am I going to make that happen? And that kind of energy does not actually help your productivity. It actually goes against your productivity. So what I'm going to have you guys, wait, before I go any further, do you guys have any questions, any insight that you want to share? I love to sort of hear from you. Like, does that resonate? What may be in your mind when I'm speaking these words?
Definitely resonates for me, because as I was talking and thinking about how do I feel when I wake up, that's mostly when I have neck pain. I typically wake up with pain in my body, and I've sometimes had it mostly in my jaw, but it's typically my neck. But on the weekends, or most weekends, I feel like I get the most stressful sleep, so a Friday or Saturday night, which obviously correlates to me not necessarily having to worry about work. So all of it is, at least right now where I am in my life, is more work related, which is more of an insight, I guess, than anything.
It's interesting. I think that what happens when work becomes something that we're stressed about is because we're not only accountable for to ourselves, we have other people that we're accountable for, and we have no idea how each of these people are either going to show up for the task or how they're going to receive the task that you have completed. And that's why it's important to have like, and as we journal today, you're going to write in that journal what I always write, and we're going to get ready to go into that I'm going to share with you when we're ready to go into the writing part. But this is why it's important to take that time out to really like tap into a more lifting, more elevated experience, so that you aren't allowing other people to dictate how you feel. Because ultimately, if you're stepping in confident, if you're stepping in with power, if you're stepping in knowing what you know and being okay with what you don't know, and knowing how to ask for help and support when needed, but not from the space of aggression, fear, and anxiety, then you're able to be more productive, because you're not wasting all this energy and space on the anxiety that comes with having to be accountable to other people, or having other people be accountable to you. Anyone else want to share if this resonates with them, if they have questions?
I agree with Danielle. I get my best sleep on the weekends, and like during the weekdays, I'll push off. Even if I'm tired, I'll be like, I want to do what I want to do, so I'll fall asleep later. And then on the weekends, though, I'm like in bed by like 10 p.m. and awake by 7 a.m. and it's easy. But yeah, I think it's probably because I'm not stressed out.
So would you say that if you had to list like scale of or 1, 2, 3, the things that are most stressful in your lives, how many of you would say work is the most stressful thing in your life?
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
Wow. Alicia, you?
Yeah, usually.
Wow. That is okay. So the next workshop that I'm going to do is definitely going to be on that topic, because work should be work for, and this is speaking like at my older age, and knowing that I have had to go through what experiences you guys are going through now. That if someone had taught me how to empower myself, how to understand that I'm showing up as best as I can, and I'm not going to be afraid of outcomes that are not outcomes that I have control over, then you would allow yourself to be more at ease with the experiences that you're having at work. Because each of these experiences that you're having, every time you are corresponding with someone, every time you show up providing work that you are proud of, and it's received and you see a positive outcome, every time you show up with work that isn't being received and doesn't have a positive outcome, all of those are part of your growth experiences. And each time you have those experiences, you have an opportunity to rise above it or surrender it and let it go. So I am now going, unless Betsy, David, do you guys want to share anything? Did what I say resonate with you on or not, or any questions?
No questions. I think it makes sense. Yeah.
Betsy?
Yeah, it makes sense. I've started to, because I know we had previously spoken and you mentioned doing like the lists at night, and it's been super helpful for me, at least, to try and like organize your thoughts the night before rather than just get up and try to. It just feels like you kind of get all your ducks in a row instead of like waking up and like everything's scattered and you're trying to put it together for the day. It's nicer to like, I don't know, get your kind of look at your schedule and like know what you need to do, and yeah, I think maybe better sleep because of it. I don't know.
Yes.
No, I guarantee you would have better sleep, because a lot of the times, okay, a lot of the times why we drink alcohol before we go to sleep, we watch YouTube or we play video games or we, whatever we do to entertain ourselves, is because we want to not worry about what's to come, and we're trying to distract ourselves from what was. And so if we don't give ourselves the opportunity to like sit, get grounded, and understand that we no longer have control over what has happened, but we do have an opportunity to take a look at what we are going to be able to do in our tomorrows to make the experiences better. And so instead of numbing ourselves from the experiences we already had, before we step into that numbing space, it is really helpful for you to just set some time aside and really take advantage of writing and connecting with yourself, so that you have given the brain what it needs to process while you're sleeping. And sometimes you will find, like, if you're writing, we're going to do the writing now. If you're writing, you might find like your heart might beat a little bit when you realize, oh shit, that's right, that deadline is coming due. Or, oh fuck, I have to go and meet up with that person and I only have a few minutes. Um, um, it is, you'll feel the shift in your body. But the greatest part is that when you go to sleep, the brain is now going to help to see how can we go through that experience without so much stress, without so much worry. Because the brain doesn't want to utilize all of its information. It doesn't want to waste space. It wants to figure out how to get you to what you want to achieve the quickest and easiest way. All right, so we're going to, first of all, I wanted to share with you some quick examples. One of my favorite books that I have my clients read is The Power of Habits by Charles Duhigg. And the reason why that book to me is really fascinating is because he does a great job really detailing how habits were created by you, therefore habits can be broken by you, and new habits can be formulated by you. So remember, when you're trying to create a new habit, it is important that you allow yourself to be consistent for a few times, because the brain, I don't know, Betsy, I know you're working with a personal trainer. You usually have to do one exercise 3 times. Why? Because the first time the body is trying to figure out what to do, and it's giving the brain this information. The second time, it's trying to master the exercise. The third time, it now knows the exercise, and so now it's going to step into it with a lot more ease. And that is exactly what you want to do when you're creating new habits in your life. You want to create that brain power to be able to get you to do a new habit and feel comfortable putting that habit into your life. And even if you step away from that habit, once you've put that habit in the brain remembers. And so even when you step away from it, when you come back, it won't be as stressful. But in the beginning, it is always complicated. You know, the brain is like, what the fuck? I don't understand what she's doing here, what he's doing here. I'm going to read to you some examples that he uses in the books. Febreze. So I'm going to give you 3 different brands. You guys are in advertising, so you know the importance of brands and how they create these marketing strategies. They're all based on consumer behavior. Febreze, the success is in the reward of a cleaning job well done. Febreze was originally odorless and marked as a way to get rid of bad smells. Now it's fresh, clean smell that accompanies the end of a cleaning session. See, when Febreze first came out and it didn't have a smell, all you did was spray. But there was no gratification, right? Because we didn't touch upon any sensories. We didn't touch upon visual, we didn't touch upon smell, taste. And so when you finish cleaning, the brain was like, I'm not sure we're finished. But usually when you finish cleaning, what is one of the outcomes? You can smell a cleaner space. So Febreze added the smell, so that way now the brain goes, oh, I'm going to spray Febreze when I'm done cleaning. That smell, great. So you associate Febreze with clean and good smells. McDonald's fries are designed to melt immediately. And I don't know how many of you have eaten McDonald's fries, but you know when you get McDonald's fries, when they are best when you get them immediately. It is 5 minutes within not eating them, you can see them starting to wilt, and they don't taste as good. In order to give the reward right away and tighten the habit loop, the store, and this is the other thing, the store designs and everything around you when you enter McDonald's are as standardized as possible in order to keep cues consistent and trigger routines. So when you walk into a Starbucks, when you walk into McDonald's, when you walk into any of these fast food, they are consistent with the visual that you have already experienced that's associated with that space and what you're going to get. The smell of coffee, the smell of fries, whatever that is, the smell of the bread at Subways. So you have all of these different, they're intentional. They're intentional to trigger a memory, and the brain likes to know what's coming next. So Pepsodent, Claude C. Hopkins, successful ad man who helped make Pepsodent successful. Turns out Pepsodent's success was mainly due to the tingly feeling in the mouth due to the ingredients. Just like when you brush your teeth, the toothpaste does not have to bubble up. The reason why toothpaste bubbles up is because it wants to give you a reward for brushing your teeth. And so when you see that bubbling up, you're like, oh, I cleaned my teeth, I'm good now. And so you want, hello, Vanessa. And so you want to be able to have that sort of reward. And the reason why I brought up these 3 different examples is because what I want you to see is that each of them had a reward. It either had a smell, it either had a visual, it either had a foaming, but something that allowed your brain to know that a task was completed and that it was fulfilled in a way that is familiar. So I would like you now, we're going to start our writing. You're going to pull out your journal. And this is where you get yourself comfortable, get yourself in a nice, you're welcome to leave your camera on. You're welcome to be wherever you want to be. I want you to just get comfortable and get your journal. And when you get your journal, I want you all to go to a clean page. And on the top of that page, you're going to write things I didn't get done today that needed my attention. And underneath there, you're only going to write 5 things that you needed to achieve that you have not achieved yet. And in there, it can be professional or it can be personal. It doesn't just have to be one or the other. And I know that when you write the 1 to 5, I want you to think about what are the thing that's pressing on your mind the most that you didn't achieve yesterday or today that you would have liked to have. And the reason why it's written today, you have to remember you would be normally doing this at nighttime. So when you sit down to reflect on your day, it gives you an opportunity to think about what is pressing on your mind. That's what's important. You want to really mind dump what is pressing on my mind. Okay, on a new page. So I want you to turn over to a new blank page. And on this, I want you to write topic, things I need to do tomorrow. Here you're going to write up to 20 things, no more than 20 things. And on the top of that, from 1 to 5, you're going to write what are the most important things that you really need to get done that are difficult for you to do. You have 2 more minutes. It's okay if you didn't finish it. I'll do my singing bowls while you guys are doing that. Okay. You can always finish it later. And then now on a new page, and this is really important because what happens when you're writing the things you need to do, your brain is going in deprivation. And it feels like it's lacking, like it's got all of these things to do and it hasn't achieved anything. And so the body wants to let the brain know, no, we've achieved a lot. These are just things that need to get done. And so we're going to take on this page, you're going to write on top of the page 5 things I'm most grateful for. And then you're going to list out 5 things you're most grateful for. And now, underneath the 5 things that you are grateful for, you're going to write these sentences. The first one is, show me how it gets better, period. Show me how it can be better, period. Show me what to do to make it better. And now, by writing those words, you are helping the brain to help you know how it can be better, what it looks like when it's better, and what it feels like when it's better. And when you are allowing the brain to try and process that experience, then it's able to tell the body this is what needs to happen in order for the experience to be better. But when we go, Murphy's Law, oh, of course this happened to me, or yes, work is stressful, or people are assholes, or when you're in that mindset, when you are in that sort of negative spiraling, low frequency, I call that low vibe, low frequency mindset, then yeah, the universe will show you what more can happen that may not be in alignment with something better. Because all you're saying is, great, this situation happened. It was a terrible situation. Of course, it's going to happen that way. Murphy's Law. And so it's like, oh yeah, so it's supposed to continue to happen this way. And so you find yourself in this constant battle of like, things are just not working out. Well, ultimately, when you see that kind of experience happening in your life, the best thing for you to do is take a step back and try to connect to what is actually going on in your brain. And I am not, and I caveat this by saying I am from New York. I know how we're now living in LA. I understand what people say about New Yorkers. We are darker people. We do step into the world just expecting shit to go all fucked up. It's just our personalities is the way we are, and we hustle through it and we push through it. But at some point, you're hustling through it and you're pushing through it. Guess what? New York has one of the highest states of cancer, anxiety, and depression. So yeah, we do. We persevere and we persevere. But at some point, is that really the existence that is going to help us feel elevated in the life that we're living in? When you think that the work that you're doing is stressful every single day, when that's how you're looking at your work, can you really show up being productive and being beneficial to yourself and the people that work with you, for you, alongside of you? Not really. So taking the time out at night, even if ideally you do this before you numb yourself, because what I've learned by doing this, so I learned this process when I was doing my certification a few years ago with Dr. Daniel Amen, who specializes in brain health, in particular depression, anxiety, ADHD, and ADD. And when I did this, I started realizing that I'd prefer not to have that second glass of wine or those other numbing experiences, because what I was trying to numb myself from, what I was worrying about, had already been dumped onto a paper, and it didn't feel as daunting anymore. I felt more connected to how I can make this experience better. And so I hope that you give yourself an opportunity to take a few minutes out of your night to do this practice, see how it feels, remembering that you have to learn how to make it a habit in order for you to really see the transformational changes. So you can't do it 1 or 2 days. It takes 21 days to start a habit. It takes 90 days to create that habit as part of your daily routine. It takes 120 days to make that habit a lifestyle. And so each time you allow yourself to sit down and write your evening routine before you numb yourself with YouTubes or wine or whatever it is that you numb yourself with, each time you do that, you're telling the brain, we want a more elevated experience. We want to value our sleep so that I can give the brain an opportunity to be able to figure out how I can step into my day tomorrow feeling less worried, feeling less anxious. I would love for you guys to share whatever you want to share, what you experienced writing this down, or what resonates, or what questions.
Well, I don't know if it's a delineation or a distinction, but things I need to do and things that I worry about are not necessarily the same thing. I mean, I guess it could be in terms of what am I worried about and can I make that an action as a to-do list. So it was in some ways kind of hard for me to think about what do I need to do today and tomorrow to a certain degree. But I can go through my head and have a bunch of worries that don't necessarily or immediately have kind of a next step, I guess, if that makes sense.
So give me an example without getting too personal. Give me an example of something that is a worry for you.
So I guess like in a broad sense, being able to deliver something to a client that is not necessarily, in some ways it's in my control, but I might not be the person or people that are making the thing, for instance. Being able to kind of push something forward or what have you. But there's like general kind of client worries like that I have in my head.
Okay, so that's a really great example of like when you're writing out the top 20 things that you're gonna write out. It's like there's a section like you already know that handing things over to clients, that it makes you worry. So what you're going to do is you're going to write out like whatever, tomorrow I need to submit this proposal to the client, and then for yourself put underneath there some affirmation or something to remind you that ultimately, once it's handed over, it is no longer in your control. And that ultimately, worrying about it is only going to make you sick. There is a great quote from Thich Nhat Hanh, right? It's me being angry at you is like putting poison in my body and expecting you to die. So when you take that proposal and you hand it over, you have to own the fact that you gave it what you had available to give it. Whether it was the best you could do or not, that's not the point. You gave it what you could at that moment to hand it over, and create that sort of affirmation for yourself that says, at that point, I'm at a space of surrender. If you are open to learning from the experience, like if the client ends up, and we do have those clients. I was an account executive in advertising. That's how I met Michael Rose. You have these clients that are really irrational and have really their own way of seeing things. You don't have control over the way that client experiences that. What you do have is maybe you put in there ways that I can have a better relationship with my client, or ways that I can, tomorrow I'm going to spend some time writing ways that I can improve my relationship with the client, or ways that I can surrender the idea that I could control the way a client reacts. That can be part of your to-do list, because all of these things are for our growth, right? I want to get stronger in my plank position. So, okay, for tomorrow, I'm going to do 3-minute plank because I want to get strong in it. It doesn't need to be like a deadline, something that it could be these self-growth experiences that you're looking to create in your life. Does that help?
Yeah.
Anyone else want to share what came up for them when they were doing the writing? Karina?
So I kind of had the opposite, where my things I should have done today and things I need to do tomorrow were very similar. Like a lot of it is the same, which just shows me that I just have not been getting done like my basic things that I need to do. I just get swept away from like more home stuff, like walking my dogs all like morning and night and all this stuff. I find that I just get so in my head and stressed that I just put those things on the back burner. And now I'm realizing when I write it down that it's the same thing every day. So just do it.
The reason why walking the dog is something, it's like when we start becoming robotic, and I think it was Alicia that you said you have a face cleansing routine at night. The reason why is because you have done it in enough times that it now has become a habit. And again, the brain wants to do what it has already experienced. The brain does not like to do anything new. And that is why each time you're learning something new, it is going to challenge you. And so when you have a new project, each time work gives you, and that could be, and we're going to do a workshop on managing stressful work, but each time you are given a new project at work, it's a brand new experience. And what happens when we have a brand new experience? The brain is like, fuck, we don't know that experience. We got to try to find a way to figure out this experience. Now I'm stressed. Now I'm worried. And that's why it's your responsibility to tell the body. You know, some of you have joined my meditation class, but that's why you have to tell the body, it's all right. It's all right. We're going to do this. We've taught ourselves many things before. We're going to learn and move on to this. So when you notice that your to-do list is like you're writing the same things every few days, compassion. Step back and become your best friend and let yourself know it's all right. We're going to get through this. This is cool. We have the opportunity to have a whole new experience. And when you have that, you are giving the brain longevity. You are helping the brain to constantly learn how to use muscle. And each time you teach the brain how to use the muscle for something new, your brain starts becoming more comfortable with doing these new experiences. And does that help?
Yeah, it does.
Betsy?
I for the first time in a while, felt like I was writing down. I kind of like reflected on this morning. I was like, I've actually gotten a lot done today, like a lot more than usual. So, feeling pretty good. There's a lot more to do, as always, but I felt like, yeah, no, I think a lot more things have become. I'm hoping I'm getting closer to the habit point of certain things, but I did have a productive morning. So
Amazing.
maybe not as work wise as it should have been, but life wise for sure.
That's okay. They both matter, and they both take up room. They both take up brain space.
Yeah.
And on that note, Betsy, you are experiencing the reward aspect of doing your to-do list. And Karina, you want to be able to give your brain that reward aspect. So you want to make sure that you're not repeating day after day some things that you still haven't achieved, because you're not giving the brain that reward. With the gratitude helps to pull in that reward. But Alicia, how about you? What did you feel?
I'm like a serial list keeper with like stuff that I need to do for work and home, and kind of like Karina, I'm not getting enough done, so I feel woefully underproductive, which is troubling my spirit, and probably one of the reasons why I don't sleep well, because I'm thinking about all the stuff that I have to do. So yeah, I'm just like looking at this now, like, okay, I have to do this now.
So when we find ourselves going in a loop, again, it's finding that compassion and realizing that the brain is saying, We're going in this loop because we don't really know how to get these things done. So we're just going to keep taking you on a loop of the things that we know, and we're going to keep going in this circle and hope that all else falls off. And so instead, what you want to do is you want to tell the brain, no, I know that it sucks starting something new, but we're going to go through this experience and we're going to get this done. And you can see yourself going through that loop. Now, there is another real good science that exercise, even if it's just for 10 minutes, will help to get that blood circulating to the brain so that you are able to start pulling in cellular function to get you to be more productive. Vanessa.
Hello. Sorry I was late. I had a meeting run over.
It's okay.
But, what I thought was cool was when you told us to write the list, and then you said something about like the one that's the most pressing. I thought it was kind of interesting because I'm also like a big time list keeper. And I'll usually like write a to-do list, and then I'll put like number them from like easy to hard, so like I know which ones I could get done fast. And I get like huge satisfaction from like crossing them off. But I thought, what was I gonna say? I like just lost my whole train of thought. Oh, I really liked like I think get a lot of satisfaction from like crossing things off, and like when you made us write like things that we're grateful for or those affirmations, like that made me feel really good. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll start like writing things that like I got done but like I didn't put on my to-do list, or I would like something like the act of like writing things that I've accomplished or make me feel good, like just I don't know, that like gave me like a little like hit of something. So I think I might like add that to like my process of like my list of like, okay, like it doesn't all have to be like these tasks. Like maybe I could put some things that are like nice moments, or like, okay, like I did my run today or something. Like I don't know. So I thought that was like a nice little thing.
I love that. And you know, that's what you were doing is that reward aspect, right? Because when you realize that if I give the brain serotonin or dopamine is that feeling that we get when we've actually achieved something, that feel good, the parasympathetic system feels really calm and relaxed. When you give the brain that, then it's not as afraid to get you to the next phase so that it can release that dopamine again. So that's an awesome, and I love that you added that. I think that's a good way. And you know, closing with the affirmation, show me how it gets better, because sometimes as we're writing that, it's stressful to realize, fuck, I've been on a loop, or fuck, I didn't get that done. And it's like, show me how it gets better, show me how it can be better, show me what I need to do to make it better. It's just like, okay, that's what you want from me. You want me to show you how it's going to get better. I'm going to help you figure that out. So I know that you guys are pressed for time. I'm pressed for time too. I wanted to give you guys a guided meditation, but I hope that you're able to leave here feeling of value. I will send you a follow-up email just so that you can have it, have the discussion on hand. And of course, as always, ask me questions. I'm going to do a workshop on stress and work. I think that may be valuable after hearing that's the number one stress in your life. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll see you later.